Namaste everyone. This is a video blog about self-image. Self-image is very important. And when we're talking about yoga or energy flow in the body, it's amazing how much self-image can help energy to flow. There are blockages from your posture, your muscle tension, which becomes your joint alignment, bones, that you've become so accustomed to your own particular tension pattern, your own particular bone alignment. You're so used to it that you don't see it anymore as misalignment. You see, a long time ago, I had a ponytail, right? I'm bald now, and I was thinning, and so I was growing all my hair out for my self-image. And as we'll get into really quickly, there's going to be a difference between like a surface self-image and a deeper self-image. So I had a ponytail and I had hair ties for my ponytail, and I would keep it on my wrist sometimes. And my wrist was just barely too thick for that hair tie. So if I left it there for 30 minutes or an hour, my hand would start to get cold. It was cutting off circulation. But for the first 10 or 15 minutes, I wouldn't even notice it there. I would forget it's there. I wasn't leaving it there like it's an ornament. I would just put it on my wrist for, I seem to remember, I would do shoulder stands in yoga, and your bun or the ponytail or whatever, the knot would be right under my head, and I'd have to take it out because it would hurt. And so then I'd put the hair tie on my wrist, finish my yoga practice. Later, I'd be preparing food or something or on my way out the door. And man, my hand's getting cold. Look, there's my hair tie. I got so used to it, I forgot it was there. But when there was a problem, when it started to feel bad, feel uncomfortable, I addressed it, right? And it was such a simple solution. But with our posture, we don't often, it's not so obvious. Like, that's why there's specialists, people that study this stuff. You should see the anatomy books I've looked at, all the content I've put out, having to organize, what I know and apply it to my body, because that's what longevity plays a role in this. Because I could just give you information, but like at some point, what's my results? How's my body looking? How's my body moving? And, it's still pretty good. So with posture, we have kinks in our spine, like in the upper shoulders, which is really like a spinal thing. We have, the ways that our arm bone fits in our shoulder socket, our hips fit in the hip socket, or our thigh bones rather fit in the hip socket. The tension in the front of our hips and our groin versus the deep back hip, like these spaces, that they form kind of like little kinks in our blood system, the vascular system, and in the nervous system, little pinching sensations that you've gotten accustomed to, and you don't really notice until it's a much bigger problem, like sciatica, or your rotator cuff is worn weird. Like you've worn it out playing tennis or whatever. It wasn't tennis that wore it out. It's because you had bad alignment and then you were doing tennis on it. It is that way with most activities. It's not the activity. You could have bad form with the activity, but if you have bad bone alignment, you could have the greatest form there is. You're still using a faulty structure to do that form. And that'll show up later, like I teach the Yoga for Sorcerers program. That's the ongoing yoga and physical yoga program that I have. I have the silent flute, mastermind, mentality and mindset and communication skills, emotional intelligence or whatever. That's the silent flute. Yoga for Sorcerers are physical movements and all of the imagination and mindset that goes into that. Imagery and imagination, very similar words, that helps to free up a person's body, which doesn't necessarily mean become a contortionist. I always do this gesture with contorted, like so deep back bends. Free it up is just releasing your consciousness from the habits of how you move, your habitual movements, which is not just walking and running and some bigger movements. It's little things like breathing. That's a movement. It's a muscle contraction. It's all kinds of movement that happens with it. And then everything from just day-to-day tasks, texting, typing, driving kind of stuff. And then, of course, any movement, walking and exercise, everything. Even sex, like that is a posture and there's range of motion and everything. And so freedom is, getting out of those habits and being able to make more conscious decisions about rotation and movement and articulation. And when you have that freedom, circulation flows better. And attaining that freedom is stepping out of the habit. And how do you step out of the habit is You need something different than what you're doing. You do what you've done and you're going to get more of the habit. You deeply ingrain it. You solidify around it. That's what I teach in Yoga for Sorcerers. Most recently, I've been teaching the Spotlight Imagery. So I have a product about Spotlight Imagery, but I'm teaching it differently because the Spotlight Imagery was taught to Ashtanga Vinyasa practitioners. So that's particular. Any Vinyasa practitioner could probably get it, but really Ashtanga, because that emphasizes the home solitary practice, the counted breathing. There's a lot of techniques in Ashtanga Vinyasa that isn't just in Vinyasa, and it's definitely not in just yoga, posture practice, Bikram and everything, that lends itself to Spotlight Imagery. But teaching that anatomy, which was learned from David Garrigues, shout out David Garrigues, this is a kind of self-image that pulls your mind. Remember I was saying the ponytail and having like a surface self-image. That was like me trying to look cool in my mind, the avatar. Sorry for the siren, I want the window open though. The avatar, like how I was dressing, how I was looking, my appearance, my hair and everything. I was playing that kind of druggy rock musician. That's what I was coming off of when I got into yoga. And versus a deeper self-image, which includes the muscles and bones. Let's just say that when you do yoga, one of the things that will begin to happen is you start to notice exactly where your body actually is, not just where you think it is. You have an idea of where your arms and legs and things are in space. And the thing about yoga, because it's so slow and methodical, calm, and there's a lot of feedback sensation that you give yourself by different kinds of binding or contact with yourself that other sports don't really offer that. And when they do, it's in such an aggressive manner, all sports and activities like that, that there's not like a lot of reflectiveness. You're not reflecting on, what you're doing. Yoga, with its breathing and its calm stretching and slower movement, you get more in tune with where exactly your body is and where it isn't. And over time, you'll hurt yourself because you're just deepening the pattern of how you do things. That's why you learn a system. At some point, if you stay consistent with your yoga, you're going to see that you have imbalances in your body and you're going to have to reinvent the whole wheel for yourself, figuring out how to therapy yourself and balance your joints and whatever. It's not as simple as just doing the poses because you're doing the poses in an unsymmetrical way. And when you learn outside systems, those are from more experienced, more senior practitioners. In some cases, you may call them masters. They're more senior practitioners of it. And it's from their journey and they've made, injured themselves or deepened their own patterns, which aggravated their nervous system or their joints or something. And so they studied and they developed systems that would help you not go through the same trials they went through, make your practice more efficient so you don't spend so much time healing yourself or opening yourself up when you only have so much time in the day. That's why there's qualities of yoga. Better quality yoga, you get more with less effort, basically. At some point, there's going to be some effort, but, get more with less effort. That's why everybody likes Wim Hof. They get all the benefits, but with such little effort. You just got to breathe and jump in some cold water and tolerate it like a masochist. That's great, and to each their own. This is different. So when you can visualize your actual bones, this is Spotlight Imagery, and you can just look through a skeleton book or skeleton images of the body, or just look at a really good, well-drawn image of the skeleton. As you scan the bones, it'll change your alignment. You'll change kind of how you're sitting or looking at it as you notice your actual anatomy. And it's not even your anatomy. It says a drawing of a generic anatomy, You're not going to be able to see your exact anatomy, but you'll make relationship between what you're seeing and what you're feeling inside. And that's going to do a lot. You'll be surprised for your energy flow, your circulation flow, because you'll make little adjustments in places that you didn't even know needed adjusting. You'll raise your own awareness. And then I'll tell you, come to Yoga for Sorcerers or get my Spotlight Imagery product. But I'm teaching it in Yoga for Sorcerers in a more widely applicable format to how we do the sun salutations, how we do different movements, and I emphasize these points on the body. There's 8 specific points, and, it's David Garrigues. He taught it to me, and I, have packaged it and teach it in a different way. Good luck digging through his material and finding it. I teach it in my own way, and I've added some spotlights. And what are these spotlights? Are points on the skeleton that you can visualize and imagine. That's why it's called imagery. And it grounds your attention in these parts of your body that are very, very helpful for your alignment in yoga poses. They will naturally, because of the symmetry of a spotlight, it's a circle basically, and around these key joints and in a specific way, the language of it will help you naturally open and balance your joints as you do the poses so that you can have a home practice, because that's what I'm all about. Have a home practice. You go to studios and whatever and do that, but be able to practice at home, and the Spotlight Imagery will entertain you. You will be entertained by your own experience of yoga much more. And it'll make, like what I do with the Yoga for Sorcerers, it'll make your meditation, your breathing much better. You'll have a better breath. You'll have a more tranquil yoga meditation practice, being able to micro-adjust yourself, minimally adjust yourself, so that those aggravations in your body don't negatively affect your meditation so much, right? This is what I told Frank White, shout out to Frank White, that I'd be teaching the members, the guys and girls that are in Yoga for Sorcerers. Right now there's like 14 or 15 people, and it's not $97 a month. The link is in the description. And so this is what I'm teaching them, what I know about the physical body and breathing that can help open, which another way of saying open is remove all blockages. It's the same thing, like remove all the kinks and blockages and things open. Okay, so I hope to see you on the program, and I'll see you in the next video blog also. Namaste.